you doing, butter? Hi. What are you doing? Hey guys, how is everyone? Hello friends. I'm gonna wait for more people to get into this so I don't like repeat myself. Topic of my live today is strictly taxes. That's all I'm gonna talk about is filing taxes, because I posted a video today about how we pay taxes in the strip club, and a lot of people just like didn't understand, or there was more questions. So I'm going to kind of like go into depth with that and we'll elaborate. So let's kind of wait for everyone to hop in here. It's about 8 o'clock here in California. So I know it's a little bit late on the East Coast, so we'll see what's going on. And Becky, I'm doing well. Thank you. Hey to Emily and hey to Jenny. I guess kind of like while we're waiting for people to join, I'm going to do a video. You guys want me to do it tomorrow, or I can drop it on Thursday? I went to Nordstrom's today. I just got home, and they have like a Skims pop-up, so like Kim Kardashian Skims pop-up, and I went there with the full intention of buying everything I could get my hands on, but the size range was so limited. I mean, I got like a decent amount of stuff, but they were sold out of like almost everything. But I'm gonna do like a Skims try on and a Skims haul, let you guys know what I think. Is it worth it? How much I paid, sizes, etc. Anessa, are you at the I need an assistant level yet? I can be your assistant. That's so funny that you say that, because I was just telling one of my girlfriends, between my Only Lamps account, okay, you guys, we know what that's code for, Only Lamps, between my Only Lamps account, like TikTok, YouTube, like all of this stuff, I was just like, oh man, I'm busy. So I need a shopping spree. Hey to Oklahoma. Are you studying for the LSAT? Yes, this is my second time around, and yes, my mom is a lawyer. Okay, cool. I think we got like enough people in here. We have about 40-ish people in here. Normally I have like between like 150 to 200 in here, but I think that, yeah, 8 o'clock at night, 40 people, it's 47 people, it's pretty decent. Bestie, can you give us an apartment tour? Yeah, I can definitely do an apartment tour. Hey to Seattle, that's right. I've never been to Seattle. I've always wanted to go. I just hear it rains so much, and I don't meet the height requirement to be in the rain, you guys. I will drown. I am 5 feet tall. And hey to Caroline, hey to Most Dope. Okay, so let's get into taxes. Explaining my video that I posted on TikTok today. Oh wow, New York City and Nashville, 2 of my favorite places. Hey to Letitia, to Florida. Hey to everyone. Ohio. Wow, Kentucky. Oh my gosh, that's so great. And hi, Priscilla. All right, let's get into taxes. I posted a video today explaining how we pay taxes working in the club. And I want to elaborate on that. I know people were just like, there's so many questions, so many different things. I only had 1 minute, so I kind of just touched on all the bases of paying taxes working in the club. So people are like, why do you pay so much in taxes? In my video, I was like, I pay between $10,000 and $13,000 a month. You guys saw my little notice there from the IRS for my quarter that was due. It said that I owed $10,000. I paid $6,000, and then I paid my final payment today because it was due today. Today's tax day. I paid my final payment today of $4,000 to the IRS. So why do I owe so much money? The reason why is because I make a lot of money. I'm not trying to say that like I'm on here like, oh, I make so much money, I make so much money. I'm saying like I make a lot, that's why I pay a lot. So 10 to 13,000 every 3 months, that's not a lot that you're paying in taxes when you cut it down by month. That amount that I pay, 10 to 13,000 quarterly, that's per 3-month intervals. So every 3 months, that's what I have to pay. Considering what I make a month, that's not that much that I'm paying. It just sounds like a lot because it's happening at one time. I know that there was a comment in there that they were like, you don't have to pay your taxes quarterly. This girl's lying. Correct. You're not required to pay your taxes quarterly when you work in the club. I pay my taxes quarterly because if you don't, when tax day comes, like today, instead of you paying 10 to 13K a month, you're going to owe between 40 and what is that? $60,000. And I don't want to pay 40,000 in a lump sum or 60,000 in a lump sum. So I pay it quarterly. Okay, let me kind of like answer some of these questions. Do you get your lips done? Yes, I do. I've had 3 syringes. Wow, Iowa, St. Louis, that's so cool. The Bay, Jersey, Toronto. I love the international ones. Let's see. In the beginning, when you started bartending, did it shock you to pay every quarter? In the beginning, I didn't pay every quarter, and that's what started me paying every quarter. So my first year bartending at the club, my very first year, I didn't have a great year, but I made like $120,000 my very first year at the club. That's not bad money at all, but considering what I make now, that's low. So my very first year at the club, I made $120K. I did not pay taxes every quarter. And remind you, you don't get a paycheck working in the strip club. So you have to save your money because you still have to pay taxes on that money. Like no taxes were taken out of that money. So I made $120 my first year, and my first year I went to my accountant and he was like, you owe this much money. And it was a lot of money that I owed in taxes, like a lump sum. It was in the double-digit thousands that I owed. I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. So I called the IRS and I paid it. I paid the lump sum, and they were like, you know that you could pay every quarter, right? When you're a 1099 or a private contractor, a freelancer, whatever, you can pay every quarter instead. I was like, okay, so like, how do we do that? So basically how paying every quarter works while you work in the club is you go to your CPA or your tax attorney. You don't need one, but I recommend investing in one. It's a really low price what you pay considering like what you're saving money. So I went to my CPA, who's also a tax attorney, and I was like, hey, I want to do this quarterly. How do we do it? So how quarterly works is it means every 3 months. 1 month is considered Q1 or quarter one or 1 quarter. So you get your bank statements, and let's say from January to March, right? That's Q1, that's 1 quarter. And then March to May, like, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So January to March, we look and we see how much money I deposit. Let's say in January, I deposited $20,000 in cash. Let's say February was $30,000 and March was $40,000. I'm just throwing numbers out. That would be a total of $90,000 that I made in Q1. Even though I made $90,000 in the first 3 months of the year, I didn't pay any taxes on that money. So a percentage of that money gets calculated by the IRS. My CPA puts in how much money I put in. A percentage comes back, then the IRS tells me how much I owe them. Out of that $90,000, I could owe them $35,000. I could owe them $40,000, like whatever it is. I'm just throwing out numbers here. That's what it could be if I made that amount of money. So that's why I said I average between $10,000 to $13,000 is what I pay every quarter based off of my earnings. So yeah, that's how that works with the taxes, and that's why I pay so much. Because if I didn't pay every quarter, the same amount would be owed. It would just be one lump sum at the end of the year. Let's see. Anybody else done their taxes and still have not received their refund? Okay, I don't know. Would you consider making a YouTube video on this? Because I don't know any of this. Yes, I would, 100%. You can write so many things off though. Yes, you can. You can definitely write a lot of things off, but here's what people don't understand about writing things off or how tax deduction works, okay? I am going to be 30 years old, you guys, this year. I have been paying taxes for a very long time, probably longer or as long as some of you guys on TikTok have been alive. So this is how tax deductions work. What a deduction is it just brings you down a different tax bracket. What does that mean? When you make a certain amount of money, let's say $0 to $50,000, that's one tax bracket. I don't know if exactly that's where it ends. I'm just giving you guys an idea. 0 to 50,000 would be one tax bracket. That would mean that your tax percentage is, let's call it 2%. I'm just making up numbers right now, okay? Let's call it 2% because that's a very low income bracket. Now let's say you're in the 51,000 to 80,000. Now let's say your tax bracket is now 4%, 5%, because you make a little bit more money. Now let's say that you're in the 82,000 to 100,000. Now your tax bracket's 10%. So the more money you make, the higher your taxes are, like the higher your tax brackets are. So all a tax deduction is, or when people talk about write-offs, you could write this off, you could write this off. If you buy a new car, right? And let's say that you travel for work, like you're, I don't know, you're an inspector, you're a construction worker, you're a travel nurse and you drive from place to place. Like, I don't know, something where you own your own business and you travel. You're a photographer, like whatever it is. You could say that your car is a write-off. So what that means is if you have a car and you paid $20,000 for it and you made $80,000 that year, you subtract that $20,000 and now you're in the $60,000 tax bracket. That's what a write-off is. You have to be careful with all the write-offs that you're doing when you're working in the club industry, because you want to make money, but you don't want to make too much of a low money. You want to maintain a high income, a high tax bracket, because you want to be able to buy nice things. So what do I mean by that? You could go right now, anybody, and you could go buy a Honda Civic. Great car, reliable, very affordable, okay? But let's say that you go to Mercedes and you want to buy an AMG. If we have any finance directors in here, or we have any people that work at car dealerships, please feel free to chime in. I'll give you a very great example. Before I bought my Mercedes in February, I drove a brand new, fully loaded Range Rover, okay? $110,000 car. In order to get financed for a $110,000 car, you need to not only have the credit score, but you need to be able to have proof of income. This is why it's so important that you file your taxes. You need to be able to show that you can not only pay the payment, but you could afford it. So when you go to that bank, which is the car dealership, and you're telling them, I want to buy this Range Rover, they're going to be like, okay, the car's $110,000. Let's say you put $10,000 down on the car. Now the car's $100,000. That's what a car down payment is. If you've never bought a car before, that's how it works. So now that car's $100,000. What kind of job do you need to have? What kind of money do you need to have a $100,000 car? You can't just make $100K a year and drive a $100,000 car. Like, that's not, 2 and 2 doesn't equal 4. 100% of your income cannot go to the price of the car. So you have to be able to make the payment. That's why you need proof of income, which is why you need to file your taxes. Post-COVID, I know a lot of dealerships are not accepting bank statements because too many people were making fraudulent bank statements or lying about things. And I only know this because I just bought a brand new Mercedes in February, and they were like, hey, in a COVID, like post-COVID, we're not accepting bank statements. It could only be your tax return. I was like, okay, cool. So showed them my tax return, I was able to buy the car. So you don't want to write off too many things because it's going to show on your tax return. It's going to put you in a lower tax bracket. So even though you could afford the AMG, on paper, it's going to show you in a lower tax bracket. So I try not to write off too many things, because you don't want to hurt yourself. Okay, let me answer some questions before I go into some more information. Hi to Vanessa. Yes, please make a YouTube video. Absolutely. Let's see. Okay, cool. I think I answered all of this stuff here. I'm a mortgage banker and that was everything. Okay, cool. So Taylor here, she's got it. Okay, so that's why, another reason I try to tell you guys, if you're going to work in the club, a lot of people are like, oh, they don't pay taxes, they get away cash free. That's absolutely not true. While you can live that lifestyle, you could live like a hood lifestyle, or you could live under the radar, you're not going to be able to buy anything. You're not going to be able to purchase a very expensive car. People are like, oh, you could buy a car in cash. You can, but I want to tell you guys how buying a car in cash works, okay? If you were to go to a dealership right now, let's say I were to go to Mercedes right now, and I were to go and be like, I want a G-Wagon, they tell me it's $160,000, and I go, okay, I give them $160,000 cash or a cashier's check, they're going to let me buy it, but the dealership is going to report to the IRS that I just paid $160,000 cash. The reason why they're going to report that to the IRS, and the reason that that's going to get reported to all financial issues, you're going to get put on a red flag if you buy something in cash. You're now opening yourself up to an audit. So if you don't show on your taxes that you have a legal source or a legal stream of income, you can't buy anything in cash. And I'm going to tell you guys from a personal situation that I had, and Taylor said that she's a mortgage officer in here. So if you want to chime in here. So I'm going to tell you guys, my ex-husband and I bought 4 rental properties in cash. It was our first time ever buying property. It was our first time ever doing anything in the rental field. We go to Palm Springs, buy 4 plots of land in cash for 30 days. And I live in the state of California. For 30 days, our money got held up by the FBI while they investigated us. The broker said that anytime you buy real estate in cash, that the FBI does a forensic audit and they investigate where all of the money comes from. So everything needs to be on the up and up. You can't just be buying things in cash and not having a means of where it came from, a source of where it came from. That's when you're going to open yourself up to the feds thinking you're a drug dealer, that you're doing some type of money laundering, that there's some type of illegal business happening here. So it's very important for you, if you work at the club or you're thinking about working at the club, you need to report all, if not most of your earnings, because if 2 and 2 doesn't equal 4, you're going to get away with it for a few years, but eventually you're going to get audited. And when you get opened up to a forensic audit, you do not want that to happen. They will go through all of your bank ties. They will go through how you pay your light bill. They will go through your car payment. They'll go through how are you renting your apartment. They're going to go through everything to find out where the source of money comes from. So a lot of people have this idea or this connotation about the club industry, and they actually don't know anything that they're talking about. So if anything, you need to be on the up and up on your finances more than any other job. So, does the IRS reconcile what you report versus the does the IRS reconcile what you report versus the club? Oh, did we lose? Okay, sorry guys, we lost connection real quick. Mayor asked, does the IRS reconcile what you report versus what the club reports? Does the club report anything? Yes. So the club does not know exactly how much you made because you're a 1099, but the club does report that I worked there and that I did have earnings there. And the club does report from the year 2019 to 2020, I was a private contractor. So they do report that. The club has a tax ID that I get a 1099 from, and then I'm responsible for providing those bank statements. Also, too, because I deposit so much money in cash, I'm a private banker at Chase. Like, I have a private bank account. I'm a private client there. Because I deposit so much money in cash, I don't know any other bank regulations except for Chase, but anything over $8,000 deposited at one time is reported to the IRS. Your banker doesn't say anything to you. They're not going to tell you that they're reporting it. They're going to accept your cash and say, bye, have a good day. Do you want a receipt? And then that teller is going to turn around and fill out a form. They're going to put your social on it, your driver's license number, your bank account, how much money you deposited, and it's going to go right to the IRS. So if you think that you're getting away with something, you're not. It just, the IRS just hasn't had time to follow up with you yet. So don't try to play. Don't try to hide your money. Don't try to be hood rich. You could have 200 grand hidden in a shoebox in your house, but that's not going to get you anywhere. You won't be able to purchase a home. You won't be able to buy a car. All you're going to have is like jewelry and clothes. That's it. And that's why I think you guys see so many of these like street pharmacists, you know what I mean? These street pharmacists, they have their mattress on the floor of some hood apartment because they can't get approved to rent anywhere. So it's like, deposit your money. Everyone's like, oh, are you going to get in trouble for depositing money? No, there's nothing illegal about depositing large sums of money if you're not doing anything illegal. As long as you have a paper trail for this money, there's nothing weird. It's only weird when you make it weird. So